Oh yeah, we knew this was gonna. 2.5. That's funny. Thank you. Good evening. It is 5:35. I now call this meeting of the Parks, Recreation, and Arts Commission to order. City Clerk, would you please conduct roll call?
Commissioner Barraza,
Present.
Commissioner Collier, Commissioner Dolan is absent, Commissioner Duran,
Present.
Commissioner Kucharski is absent, Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Trio,
Here.
Vice Chair Ward,
Present.
and Chair McCoy.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there a motion to excuse the absence of Commissioner Kurcharski? Thank you, Commissioner Miller. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, go ahead.
Which one?
Second. There we
Okay.
go.
Thank you, Commissioner Trio. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passes. Is there a motion to excuse Commissioner Dolan's absence from today's meeting?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Collier. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passes. We will now begin the Pledge of Allegiance. Will everyone please stand? Ready, salute. Thank you. We will start with the approval of the agenda. City Clerk, are there any changes or proposed changes to tonight's agenda?
There are no changes.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Thank you,
Second.
Commissioner Duran. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Barraza. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. This item is approved. We will now move on to, we don't approve minutes? Oh, it's not on here. Oh, here it is. Are there any changes to the minutes from January 26, 2026? Or are there any changes to the minutes from February 23rd, 2026?
There are no changes.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Trelio. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Commissioner Miller. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. Confusing. Okay, we will now move on to subcommittee reports. Does the Measure P 5-year evaluation subcommittee have an update it would like to provide to the commission?
Madam Chair, the subcommittee for the 5-year evaluation has been meeting, and we've been identifying areas that we are going to be addressing in the evaluation. The only temporary setback is in working with the data that we are receiving from staff, and we've gotten that information, and we continue to move forward, and the deadline is quickly approaching us, so we will have to accelerate the process, but we're excited that we are identifying important areas that need to be evaluated that will give us an opportunity to kind of take a look at what we're doing and how we're doing things. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Barraza. We will now move on to member reports and comments. As a reminder, this is a time for commission members to report anything they feel important for the public or commission to know, but it's not a time for discussion. Commissioner Barraza?
No, I don't
No?
have anything.
Okay, Commissioner Duran? Commissioner Miller?
Nothing for me, thanks.
Vice Chair Ward? Commissioner Collier?
Nothing at this time.
Thank you, Commissioner Trelio. Oh, we're just moving along. All right, thank you. We will now move on to city administration and park staff reports and comments. Does anyone from the administration have any reports or comments for the commission?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone from the park staff have any reports or comments for the commission?
I do, Chair. Just a couple. Just wanted to announce for the community, the Parks Department is conducting onboarding efforts for our recruitment efforts for several key positions. Those interested can find our lifeguards, park supervisor, coordinators, and other service aid positions. These roles help support upcoming spring, summer programming, park operations, and community engagement initiatives. In addition to that, wanted to note March 22nd at Woodward Park, we will have our annual state race for the BMX track out there. That event typically sees around 400 riders, which equates to about 1,300 to 1,500 guests who come through for that day. So a big event coming through. And then, of course, our I'll call our Super Bowl here in the department. Easter is about 20 days away, so staff's making improvements in our parks. I recommend, if you haven't been through roading, please go through. A number of trees, new bark, new entryways have been enhanced, and trees being trimmed and so forth. So that is April 5th, and we will have our entire workforce out there ensuring our community has the best holiday celebration they can. And then of note, Camp Fresno registration, we will start taking reservations April 1st, and this is for our youth to go up to Camp Fresno this year. So those tuning in and those in the audience, please follow the Parks Department and see when and how you can get your young children registered to go up to Camp Fresno. That concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, there was another event that I was hoping you would announce, the community meeting that you have scheduled for March 24th and May 4th. Could you tell us what that's about? Well, maybe you don't. It's notice that I got in the mail, so
Yes.
It's to discuss the Southeast Fresno.
Yes, the Southeast Fresno, the sports complex out there off of Peach and Butler. There was a council motion made by Councilmember Vang to look at installing a gymnasium on site. So those upcoming meetings will be, first one will be at AR Elementary from 5:30 to 7:30, I believe, and we will take public input to see what the community would like to see in the gymnasium, and then we'll have a follow-up meeting to share what we heard from the community and how those plans look. So I'm excited to share that at the end of this month.
Is that
Thank you.
Measure P or general fund?
Thank you.
And I just went through my capital budget today. Let me check and I will get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay. We will now move on to unscheduled communication. Would any member of the public like to speak on any issue within the jurisdiction of this commission? You will have up to 3 minutes. If you would like to make a comment regarding any of the scheduled hearings, comments will be taken when each item is called. Any comments related to expanded access to arts and culture will be held until the appropriate hearing item.
Good evening, everybody. Kyle Lopez-Schmidt, Executive Director of the South Tower Community Land Trust. Wanted to come and give a couple comments about Broadway Parque and some things that we're trying to do in the neighborhood. Just this Friday, one frustrating experience, we're hosting a game night at Broadway Parque, which is supposed to be open until 10 o'clock. And there was 2 other families there with children playing at that time. 9:20 came around and a private security guard came through and kicked everybody out of the park. So it was closed well over half an hour before when it's supposed to be closed. So that was a frustrating thing. And he blamed the time change for it, which I don't know. The time changes, the opening changes. So that was one frustrating thing. The other was in preparation for Tower Porch Fest coming up. We wanted to include Broadway Parque in the space to utilize it, but the application fee for utilizing the space and the insurance burden, including having to provide insurance for every single performer that would be part of it, was just too much of a barrier. So this really amazing event that happens in our neighborhood now annually can't include the park because of the barriers that are there in city policy around insurance requirements and kind of event application process for such a small park doesn't make sense. You know, that kind of application makes sense if we're doing something at a big space within Woodward Park or a regional park, but for a neighborhood park, having much lower barriers in our policy would really be helpful. Thank you.
Do we have anyone online? Okay, I will now we'll close unscheduled communication and move on to workshops. Workshop ID number 26254, Workshop update on the expanded access to arts and cultural grant program. Will someone from the Parks Department please begin the presentation?
Good evening, PRAC. My name is Shelby McNabb, Assistant Director in the Parks Department. Good to see you all again today. I'll be providing an update on the Expanded Access to Arts and Culture Grant Program. Sorry, there's an issue with the clicker. Stand by. All right, we will do this manually. So as provided last meeting, we are going to be providing an update kind of following a timeline. So I will go over each of those items and then the plans for the next 30 days as well. So on February 23rd at the last PRAC meeting, staff provided an update similar to this, which included an outline of what to expect in those next 30 days. The next day, we posted a written update to the City of Fresno website for, there's a document that's now posted to the Expanded Access to Arts and Culture web page. If you're looking at the digital document, it's hyperlinked there for your convenience. On February 26th, Fresno City Council approved an annual appropriations resolution amendment to appropriate funding for cultural arts into the parks budget. That was an item that came before you last PRAC meeting as well. And it was a critical item to ensure that any funding that is recovered can be appropriated into the budget, since that money was previously sent to the Fresno Arts Council. Next slide, please. Any business? The batteries ran out just when I grabbed it. I don't know. All right, so March 2nd, staff emailed all grantees with a link to the update that was posted to the EAC website. And on March 16th, we are bringing the position authorization resolution tonight to you all. You'll see on the agenda the next presentation for your recommendation. This position authorization resolution will enable the Parks Department to hire staff for the purposes of expanded access to arts and culture administration. Previously, there was no staff in the Parks Department dedicated to that administrative function. And then on March 26th, the position authorization resolution will be presented to the Fresno City Council for their adoption, and that will essentially establish positions into the parks budget. So in the next 30 days, we will continue to work with the City Attorney's Office and Risk Department to determine next steps for contracting with grantees. Staff will continue financial and contractual reconciliation of electronic and hard copy records. We received around 210 hard copy folders and thousands of documents related to applications, and so we're going through those very thoroughly. Parks will also begin the hiring process for program staff once a position authorization resolution is approved by the Fresno City Council. Once that's approved, it will enable us to do a recruitment for those positions. And we will continue to log emails and phone calls from grantees to enable responses as soon as information becomes available. We know there are a lot of questions, and a lot of questions have come through, and we are keeping detailed records of those questions so that as soon as information to respond to them becomes available, we will be able to do so. So once again, we are committed to providing updates during the monthly PRAC meetings. PRAC meetings are held the third Monday of the month, and I've listed the upcoming meetings for the community's convenience. Grantees or other interested parties can also call the dedicated phone line or email the Expanded Arts email address, which is presented here on the slide as well. And we are reviewing, logging, and detailing each of those comments that we receive so that we'll be able to respond when the information becomes available. So I'm going to open up for questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. If we're not able to answer, we'll definitely note them down so that we can answer as that information becomes available.
Thank you, Shelby.
Questions?
I'll go ahead and turn it over to my commissioners. Commissioner Barraza, do you have any questions in regards to this presentation?
Just a couple of things. I noticed that you sent an email to folks for them to contact you. I'm curious to see what type of interaction you've had with folks that had not gotten money, and have we caught up with all the pending requests for funding that had not received funding?
So as we've gotten questions that have come into the email address, we get a variety. Some are sending their grant agreements, some are asking questions about the timeline, and so we're logging those down. There's a wide variety. We still are reconciling all of the agreements that were brought over to us, just to verify any records that have been provided so that we can identify who has not received money. There is a spreadsheet on the website that lists what Fresno Arts Council had transmitted as far as who had been paid and who had not, but we're going through our own validation process with that.
And do we know, you might have already made that comment, but do we know if some of the money has been received, has been recouped already from the 1.5 that we supposedly passed a resolution to put it back into the system? Do you know?
I don't have that information, I'm sorry.
Okay. And do we have any new information as to what happened with the money that got lost?
No, we don't at this time.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You were going to say something?
No, I'm going to.
No.
I was just going to chime in that this ongoing investigation, I think details are pretty limited as far as what we're receiving. So PD and the other forces that are working on this, we have not been updated. So it's still in the active investigation process. So I don't think we're going to have the information to share with you, unfortunately, at this time.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up question to that. One, besides our park meetings, how often would the commissioners get updates about what's going on? Two, for all the grantees who have not been paid yet, what is the city's plan moving forward to make sure that they get paid while this investigation is still going on? Because a lot of these grantees are small nonprofits, and they depend on this money to keep going. So the longer that we withhold payment from them, they may not be able to keep doors open, lights on.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to avoid is what we had last meeting when one of the grantees actually just gave back the check and said they didn't want to be a part of this anymore. And I don't want the public to get a bad taste in their mouth about the arts and culturals portion of the Measure P, because it really is a good thing. But we just need to get a handle on it and be transparent and accountable to the public as well as to the commission.
Yeah, so I'll take that question first. We are working actively to work through the next steps for the grantees who have not been paid, those who have been paid, and we're working with our risk and legal departments expeditiously. I understand that there are many impacts, and I do want to express that we've been working internally to work through those next steps. The answer to your first question about how often you'll be updated, we have the standing meeting for PRAC to make sure that at the very least we're giving that update. However, above and beyond that, we do at times issue tray memos and things, and I don't have a schedule for that, but as new information becomes available, it is our goal to communicate as often as we can and keep you all informed. There are some constraints that we face with an active investigation, but we hear the needs of the community and we hear your priorities as well.
I just don't want it to wait, because when this whole ordeal broke out, we didn't hear anything until our last meeting, which to me is very unacceptable, especially when we have our own network of residents that we work with, that we're receiving emails, phone calls, text messages from news outlets, media outlets, and we don't know how to direct those questions. So if you're staying within the guidelines, any information that you may receive in regards to the $1.5 million case that's going on, it would be nice to share it with us, so then we'll be able to know how to answer those questions as they come into us.
Absolutely, and you made that request known previously, and we've noted that down. We understand that you want timely information so that you can respond to, the calls, emails, and things that you're getting. So we understand that.
Thank you. I'm gonna keep making that request.
Please do. It's noted for sure.
Thank you. Commissioner Duran?
Yeah, if I had questions about the 3 new positions, should I hold those until the later hearing item?
Yeah, it's following this one, so I think that'd be best.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Commissioner Miller?
No.
I'm sorry, did I cut you off? Oh, okay. Thank you. Vice Chair Ward?
Yeah, I had some questions. Some of the grantees who we awarded grants to in the fall are under ongoing reporting obligations. They're supposed to be quarterly. They were supposed to start maybe even July 1st. So I was wondering, are you communicating with the grantees? Is there a transition plan? Do they understand what's expected of them? I mean, I know the big report is the final year-end, report, which can then determine eligibility for future years and receipt of the final 10%. But right now, I think they've been asked to do quarterly reports, even at the ones that haven't received any funding. So I wanted to kind of ask, is that something that you're aware of? Is that something that the city is actively engaged in? Because I think that over-communicating with the grantees might be helpful here, because there's just so much confusion in this transition.
Yeah, that is a question that we've received. It's a very good question. I think keeping track of any reportable outcomes currently is important for the grantees to do if they've received their funding. But we do expect to give more guidance on that just as soon as possible. That will come alongside, direction that we receive on contracting and the go-forward plan. So that information is coming, but if they are actively implementing now, they should continue to collect whatever was required in their existing agreement.
Okay, and then my next question was, at the last meeting, we heard that some of the recipients incurred fees because their checks bounced and that sort of thing. Is it possible that the city collect that information so they can kind of get their arms around maybe what is the impact of that, how many, because I think part of it was that there was unknown. We're aware that no commitments can be made, but it did seem like at a minimum you could make sure that the grantees felt welcome to share that information, that it was being gathered and could be reviewed in case there was something that could be done to help address that additional, financial harm that was done by this crime.
Yeah, and if they would like to share any information via the email or via the phone number that's on the slides, we welcome any information. Again, we're compiling a spreadsheet of all the different questions, comments, you name it, so that we're able to respond when we're able to respond. So that is welcomed information if they'd like to share it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Collier?
I wanted to, you were talking about keeping track of records and what have you. Do we know how many checks from artists bounced and how many checks went through, that still need to go through? Do we have kind of an accurate picture of that?
That is not something we've been able to independently verify as of yet. That's the full statement. We haven't been able to independently verify that information.
Okay, and there was also something here about contacting and communicating with artists. Do they all know where to go to get information? Because that's been one of the ongoing criticisms. We weren't informed, we weren't told. How do we get a hold of somebody? And
Right.
when you hire that new person, I see it's a community outreach, which would be perfect.
Yeah, so we heard that loud and clear, and you'll see in the timeline, we sent out an email based on all of the email addresses that we had on file for grantees this cycle, and I believe past cycle as well, just to cover our bases. And in that email, it included the website where we're posting the updates, so that they would have access to that information, because we do realize that maybe not everyone follows, social media or the PRAC meetings, and so we just sent that email out. We've also added all past grantees and Cycle 2 grantees as well to our PRAC emails, through Parks, just so that they're aware of these meetings and any other messaging that goes out from the Parks Department.
Okay, great.
And Shelby, sorry, Commissioner, and I think just to add to that, the fiscal sponsors of some of these grantees have been notified as well to get the message out to their awardees.
Which leads to my next question. Do we know how many fiscal sponsors there were that oversaw a lot of these grants?
We are in the process of reconciling that based on the records that were provided to us, so we should have a better idea of that soon.
Okay, thank you. On February 26, Fresno City Council approved annual appropriations resolution amendment to appropriate funding for cultural arts into the parks budget. Where's that money coming from?
So that is an appropriation. It's not money until money is received. Or when money is received, it can now be appropriated. In the city's budget, you have to have that appropriation in place because you can't receive money that isn't appropriated.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Commissioner Trelio? I have one more question. Has there been any adjustments to the timeline when it comes to the reporting and things for the grantees since this whole thing took place? Because they're not going to be able to get things done according to the timeline that was set, especially when some grantees have not been paid yet. So has there been any adjustments to the timeline, and when will we see that?
So that is a known need. I know when the city manager was here at the prior meeting, she expressed the desire to extend the term of the grants. And so we will be addressing that question as soon as we're able to. But that's a known need that we're hearing from the grantees that, if they had just gotten money, there's no way to deliver by, the June 30th date. And so we hear that loud and clear. And we hope to have more information on that out shortly.
Okay. Are you done?
Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'll go to Commissioner Collier, and then I come back to you, Commissioner Barraza.
Going back to those that have not been funded yet, she mentioned something about a timeline. Do we have any kind of projection of when they might get paid? Or when the bounce checks will get replaced?
No, but as soon as we do, we'll be communicating that.
Okay.
I wish I had more answers, but you have very good questions, and these are questions that we've been exploring so that we can ensure that we're able to answer them soon.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Barraza.
Thank you. How much money is set aside or waiting to be allocated in the next round of the cultural arts component?
I will need to confirm that with our business manager with the current balances, but we can get that information over to you. That would be cycle 3, but the way the fiscal years land, I want to make sure I give you the right value.
You don't have an idea?
I don't have it right in front of me. I wanted to say...
I think, Commissioner, we've typically seen about a little over $5 million each year. So I think it's safe to say somewhere around that part, but we'll be happy to give you the exact number as we're working through budget right now. So we'll be happy to share that with you.
Round 2 was what, about 6 point something? 5?
Yeah.
5? I don't know why I want to give it an extra $1 million.
Well, and then cycle 1 was 2 years combined, and so I just want to make sure that we're giving you the correct information.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelby.
All right. I'm going to stay up here because I think I got...
Okay.
Unless you're going to comments, actually, aren't you?
No,
Questions?
we're
No?
moving on to hearings.
Okay.
We will now move on to hearing items. Hearing number 26-253, action related to expanded access to arts and cultural grant program. Would someone from the Parks Department please begin the presentation? You're up.
Yep, that's a twofer tonight. Shelby McNabb, Assistant Director, Parks Department. All right, so she's loading our PowerPoint. So I'm going to be going over the Measure P Category 4 Position Authorization Resolution. And we've lost the remote again. I don't know why. All right. So what is a position authorization resolution? Similar to the resolution we brought to you last time, this is a resolution that establishes the number of positions authorized in a department in a given fiscal year. So adding additional full-time positions requires an amendment to the position authorization resolution that the city has. So you're not able to just add full-time positions without going to council and making sure that you have the position authorization in place. So why do we need one? On February 6th, the City of Fresno terminated a contract with the Fresno Arts Council for administration of the Expanded Access to Arts and Culture Grant Program. Working with the Parks, Recreation, Arts Commission, the Parks Department will be responsible for administration of the Expanded Access to Arts and Culture Grant Program. So adding positions will enable program administration. So the item that will be going before council will propose the addition of 3 new positions. Those are project liaison / program administrator. They'll be referred to as a program administrator in this role, a community outreach specialist, and a community coordinator position. And this would increase our authorized full-time positions in the Parks Department from 164 to 167. These positions are intended to augment some of our existing teams. For example, the community outreach specialist would work under Sarah, who you all work with, just to add capacity for the grant administration. And then the outreach specialist, the community coordinator would work with the program administrator and some of our other staff to administer kind of the back end of the grant awards. So this will augment our existing teams to enable administration of the grant program. Questions?
This may be premature, but you've got 3 positions here. Have you decided how you will go about picking people to review the grants and assess the grants and look at the rubrics again? And are you going to go through all that?
So I believe that will come with a grant guideline development, and that's something that we're going to be, the next hearing tonight will be establishing that subcommittee to work through those details.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, it's a future step, but.
Question, are these positions long-term, short-term? Are there plans to look for another cultural arts agency to handle that portion instead of keeping them in-house with city? I know they're going to be in-house right now, but how long are these positions? Are they full-time, part-time, the duration of those positions? And my other question.
So they are full-time positions. They're permanent positions being added. That being said, many of the classifications are found throughout the department. So we know that we'll be administering cycle 3. And then, as we explore what the future holds, although they are permanent positions, that does not necessarily mean that they would have to be permanently assigned to this role. So we will cross that bridge when it comes, but for now, we are prioritizing addressing cycle 2 and getting cycle 3 out.
So correct me if I'm wrong. You said although they're permanent positions, they may not be applied or assigned to the arts portion?
So let's say if they weren't administering future cycles, which I have no visibility into, those are common positions that we have in the department, and so they could be reassigned. If they were reassigned, they would have other funding, not cultural arts funding.
Okay.
But I think we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, and really we're trying to focus on cycle 2 and cycle 3. So this stands up a team with the most stability and kind of augments our existing team rather than building an entire new unit. So it's the most fiscally responsible, but also flexible, so we aren't permanently locked into a model because, again, we don't know after cycle 3.
So with the job requirements, are they required to have an arts and cultural background?
So these are existing job classifications within the city of
No,
Fresno.
I understand that, but if we're authorizing these positions to be assigned to the Ultra Carts grant, the Ultra and the cultural, I'm tongue-tied. If we're authorizing these 3 positions to be assigned to the arts and culturals grant processing, do they have an arts and cultural background? Because that's some of the comments that we heard from our community during round 2, is that a lot of the panelists didn't have an arts and cultural background. They didn't understand what cultural meant to each group that was applying, and they have to know how to read a budget. So those were 2 requirements that we as a commission feel that it needs to be applied when these positions start being circulated.
So I think that having a background is important. However, the job specifications that exist for the city outline the minimum requirements, the skills that are required, and so we will be following the job specifications. Those are all available on the City of Fresno's website for these job classifications in the hiring process. It is important that they understand arts and culture, but it's also very important that they understand community outreach, budget review, fiscal processing, invoice, reimbursements, fiscal controls. So there are a lot of priorities for these positions, and it will take, really strong candidates, but we will be generally following the city's job specifications.
So they don't have an arts and cultural background. It's important for them to have it, but they don't have it. So as a commission, if we're going to approve these 3 positions, I think that we would want to incorporate what we've been hearing from the public and plus what we feel needs to be put into these positions, because we don't want to repeat.
Well, I would venture to say that the scoring of the grant applications is where arts and culture backgrounds are really essential, because that scoring then prioritizes what the investment goes into. So these positions, it is preferred, but they also need to be able to make sure that the grant process and fiscal controls are in place so that there's a fair and equitable process that expands access. So I hear you, and I hear the community's priorities, and that will be considered, but I don't want to limit ourselves just so narrowly, because one of the roles of this commission and the scoring panel is to weigh in on those priorities.
Understood, but if we're going to approve to hire a community outreach specialist and a community coordinator, they need to know where the arts community is at to be able to do adequate outreach. As a community organizer, I'm going to put on my community organizer hat. I need to know where the lack of resources are at in order for me to go out and do community outreach and to do effective community outreach. So you have to know where the arts, cultures, communities are at in order for you to do effective outreach. So the community outreach specialist and the community coordinator need to have a cultural arts background.
And Chair, I'll add, when we first went through the cultural arts plan, developing that and the guidelines, these same similar positions were utilized. We got over 4,000 comments from the arts community. So with the help of you all, as well as the council members and those networks, we were able to get out to the community. We had, I believe, 12, 13 meetings, typically that were filled. Fresno High, Roosevelt. We had some up in the north part of town. We had some in Central. So to get over 4,000 comments, again, is a kind of a team effort with you all, council, and our network. So we were able to do that with these same classifications and still, I think, get a pretty good and robust outreach effort going.
But that's the thing. If you hire someone with the cultural arts background, then we wouldn't have to do the job, right?
And I think it's how we post it and how we market these positions. So these positions, as Ms. McNabb mentioned, are utilized throughout the city. But again, the requirements that go in these positions will not exclude somebody with an arts background to apply for those. So in addition to us putting them on our job bulletins, there's ways of getting these out to the arts community to advertise these positions for this type of program. So I think there's a way to get what you're asking for achieved through that process.
Okay, I'm going to leave it alone because we can go round and round. I'm going to go ahead. Commissioner Peraza, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I happen to agree with you that we should have had a job description that is more customized to the arts, the culture arts component. This is too generic. We need to have something that's more specific to a cultural arts program. That's one point. The second point, who performs, and one of the functions that I would expect to see somewhere is an auditing function. Who performs that function? Is that performed by these positions? Is that an external agency that is hired by the city to complete those audits? Auditing is very important, as we have learned now. Therefore, I would feel a lot more comfortable to have seen a job description, a job specification. And I totally agree with the observations made by our chair. So if you could address the point of the audits. Who audits the process? Who's minding the store?
Auditing the process for the grant awards or auditing the funding?
Auditing for the whole process, both
Okay.
the allocation process and the processing of payments,
Correct.
the verification of expenditures. I mean, there are a lot of places to audit. So
That's correct.
Who's going to
Yes.
perform that function?
So as I mentioned, this is an augmentation to an existing team. In building this out, the program administrator would ultimately be responsible for the overall oversight. Working with them is a senior management analyst that we currently have on staff who is going to review invoice packets, receipts, and things of that nature to make sure that what's being paid is the correct amount. There's adequate documentation associated with that, and auditing it before payments are made and that type of thing. So once that's completed, in the big scheme of things, there is an auditor in the finance department, and there's also a contracted auditor that performs the annual Measure P audit as well. But from the day-to-day, for the grant administration purposes, I don't have the org chart, unfortunately, on a slide here, but we will have the public outreach side of things led by Sarah Gaetan, and a community outreach specialist. And then we will have on the back end, is what I call it, the grant administration function, which requires specialized skills to ensure that you know what you're looking at financially and to make sure that the financial controls are in place so that payments are made responsibly. And so to answer your question, the senior management analyst will be doing that role with support from some existing staff members. And the community coordinator will be in place to respond to many of the questions that we get from the arts community, which we are already getting, and this person can be a point of contact to provide those responses.
The minimum requirements for these positions, do they, I think you already said that you don't, but I just want to confirm. Do they specify that the position is in the cultural arts arena?
They do not. However, as Aaron mentioned, when we put the job posting out, we will show a preference for that. A preference for experience with arts and culture. It is important that they understand the arts and culture, but it's also essential that they understand grant administration and unbiased processing of applications, working with the PRAC Commission, and making payments in a way that's fiscally responsible. So the arts and culture, I hear you loud and clear that that's a priority for you all, but that expertise also needs to come with the grant administration expertise. So we'll put in the bulletin that it's a preferred level of experience, but we cannot defer only to that experience if they also don't have grant administration experience, or we will find ourselves in a similar situation.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
So grant administration is over cultural arts experience?
I didn't say it was over, but it's an essential quality.
Okay. It sounds like you did, but okay.
I hear you.
Commissioner Duran.
Yeah, thank you for the information. I'm wondering, and from what you've shared already about kind of the augmentation and the flexibility with these three positions, I'm wondering if you could share more about specifically why these three positions and why three itself, right? Was that a budgetary decision? Was that a balanced decision? Where did three come from, and why these three?
So as you know, this was kind of this was fully administered in the past by an outside organization, right? And so we did not have the existing infrastructure to add hundreds of agreements to our existing team. And so we looked at who had the level of experience needed within our existing team and what we could do to augment that network or that framework, that structure that has been working to administer other grants. So based on that information and obviously budget constraints as well, we built a team that we believe will be able to successfully respond to cycle 3 by using existing team members, reallocating them, and augmenting the team as well. So we look at the job specifications within the city and the typical org structure that we have. For example, Sarah Gaetan currently has an outreach specialist to help send out all the Measure P information and prepare things. And so adding an outreach specialist would be an ideal augmentation to ensure that we have adequate capacity to respond. Additionally, we hear the community that they want outreach, they want information, they want timely access to things. And so these job specifications list in them, they're there on the city website. We can send a link to you all. The very same qualities, short of arts and culture, but we'll add that in as a preferred quality that you all are looking for. So we did our best to marry our existing structure, augmenting it, and then matching it with what the city's job specifications are. Erin, I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
Thank you, Shelby. Actually, I do, TJ Miller, Assistant City Manager. I just wanted to remind you all, too, that Parks, while they would make a recommendation for positions, the process within the city is personnel department needs to review, make sure that the tasks are lined up with our city system. So that's part of how these positions are also selected. And Shelby, you nailed it. When we have positions, I would say the majority of our positions, I feel fairly comfortable saying the majority of our positions in the city are very general in nature, and then we have specific recruitment efforts and language such as based on assignment may need this certification or may need this experience. So we do take that into consideration, but it's part of our city system. So it's very important not to take situations like this and operate in a silo to keep it within the system itself. As Shelby mentioned, we know we're doing cycle 2, cycle 3 for sure, and we can't see beyond that. So we have to be very thoughtful that we're not adding positions that may need to struggle to find a home elsewhere. So these are all this high-level grant management, operational, but also can be very specific working with the community. So I believe these are the 3 appropriate positions for this task at hand. Thanks, Shelby.
Thank you. Thank you to you both. And I have the job specifications up and looking through that, so I appreciate that.
Commissioner Miller? The mic is off.
If it's appropriate to do it at this point, I'd just like to make the motion.
Okay, we have to go through. Vice Chair Ward.
I'm ready whenever anybody else is ready.
Yeah, I just was wondering, I know the service agreement with the Arts Council was terminated. I was wondering if the thought in the Parks Department is that with the addition of these 3 full-time positions, the Parks Department will be able to fulfill a lot of the things that were in the deliverables of the not terminated service agreement. I mean, my thought goes to, there's a lot of things that were supposed to be done kind of in collaboration with the commission. And are those things that the city will be doing in collaboration with the commission once these positions have been filled? If you could speak a little bit to that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, so that's a very good question. So as I mentioned, this is an augmentation. So we're adding capacity, and by doing that, that means that we will be able to fulfill many of those same collaborative steps. For example, I know we have a workshop for the subcommittee, but Sarah Gaetan is going to be assisting with that, as well as her Measure P oversight responsibilities. So we are going to augment the team, but by doing so, that allows us to free up capacity to take it on. So I don't want you to get the impression that it's only 3 people that are going to take this on. It is an augmentation of an existing team.
Commissioner Collins?
You brought up a good point that the other commissioner also mentioned. Why only 3 positions? Are there some roles that you've identified that also go along with this that would require other employees or existing employees?
Yeah, so we are utilizing some existing employees. I'll give you an example. The senior management analyst that's going to be working on the invoicing component. She's wrapping up a prior grant program, administering that. Some of her other responsibilities will be allocated throughout the team. And so we're not saying that 3 is all, but we're saying that we do have some upcoming capacity and some shifts that we can make internally to add additional responsibilities. So instead of just every once a month for Sarah in the evening meetings, we'll be here more frequently for the subcommittee as well, and shifting some duties around.
Thank you.
Commissioner Trujillo? Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Shelby.
Thank you.
I will now go out to the public, right? I'm looking for it. Yeah. No, I do a motion, correct?
This one is a hearing, so you do have to take public comment.
Public comments. Okay, is there anyone in the public who would like to comment on this item? You will have up to 3 minutes. And can you fill out a separate card for me?
Oh, I thought this was for the.
Oh,
item
go ahead.
12.
I can,
No?
all the cards don't have which one, they have the other one, but it's okay, go ahead.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm at the right
No,
time. and
you're at the
place.
right one,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. Hey, good evening. I'm Amy Kitchener, Executive Director of the Alliance for California Traditional Arts. We have 3 current EAAC contracts. We have 4 recommendations today. One is that the city really needs to create a cultural affairs division, and it could be within the Parks Department, and hire a professional director of cultural affairs who will oversee the grants process as well as serve the city in other matters related to arts and culture, including policy development and expanded services. There's a whole arts and cultural ecology happening here. You can't administer for it if you don't understand it. It is not about putting pegs in holes. It's an eloquent kind of process. Regarding the 3 new positions that we've just talked about, they don't indicate the kind of leadership needed for the city to successfully administer the grants program, nor any arts and culture expertise. We need the city to hire a senior level arts and culture director to implement the mandate of Measure P grants. And we've seen the effects of not having a professional standard for arts and culture leadership in the city, which has been a disaster. We need to remember there are other critical arts and culture policy issues within the city besides the grants that include the development of the next cultural plan, as well as public art and other official matters. So hiring these 3 positions that appear to be geared to more junior and just sort of generic is not where we need to be. And the 30-day timeline to do this is very unrealistic. We should just pause and wait until we can get the right system in place. When it comes to the review of the proposals, we need to keep the reviewers local. And that's not the only kind of expertise that's needed. It will be a terrible misstep for external reviewers who have no knowledge of understanding of our communities to be the deciders. It is possible to design a transparent, unbiased, and effective grants review process, prioritizing local knowledge and lived experience, and a senior level cultural affairs director will be well versed in how to go about this. Finally, we would like to recommend that the chair of the PRAC also chair the arts subcommittee to bring greater cohesion of the processes to the whole of PRAC. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Okay, next speaker will be Aaron Bird. I got you. I just got him in. I got you. I just got him in order. Not yet. Johannes, not you yet. I just got him in order. Aaron Bird.
Chair, I just want to make sure that all of the commenters that are coming up now is specifically relating to these positions that.
They related to these because they all have EAAC, but they're not specified yet.
I can talk on both.
You talk to both?
I mean, I could do 2 cards if you would like, but
I'm not worried about the cards. We just have to make sure that the public comments are about this specific item, and then you will have another chance on other hearings to speak.
Okay, so out of all the cards that I have here, who would like to speak to this item so I can pull your name? Okay. Kyle. Smiley.
I'll wait.
Okay.
I can wait.
Yes, come on up, Kyle.
Thank you, everybody. Kyle Lopez-Schmidt, South Tower Community Land Trust. As a reminder, we are one of the grantees, or recommended for a grant award of EAC funds, but did not receive a contract or any funding for that yet. What I had kind of expected at this point would be there'd be more progress on that, because that seems to be a very administrative, investigative thing that would be time-bound, and I think the months that we've now known about this problem, there should be some action related to allocating funds, or at least an updated list, more clarity of what is happening, rather than a focus on creating a structure for a new team that seems premature. The positions listed do not seem high level enough to administer this complex of a grant program. It's not necessarily the dollar amount size, but that you're working with a lot of diverse communities and a lot of small grants, and it requires a level of awareness of cultural bias that these positions aren't necessarily going to have, or somebody that hasn't been studied in arts and culture to be able to be engrossed in that kind of perspective. I don't have a lot of confidence in the City of Fresno's grant application process. I've participated in many and not had very great experiences. Just to list a few, there's LGBTQ plus grants administered by the Mayor's Office of Community Engagement. We applied in June, did not receive any notice until September on a grant award for that, did not receive a contract until December, and they're still in process of reviewing our insurance requirements for an application we applied in June. City of Fresno housing money, the permanent local housing allocation money from the state, we applied for in August. We did not receive any notice. I was proactively following up any notice of advancing until March 4th, in which came a demand for huge amount of documents, and we had 1 week to comply with that. And then the third, we've applied for HOPWA, Housing for Opportunities for Persons Living with AIDS, through the Housing Department as well. This is HUD money, applied in January. No word yet on those applications being processed. So just be aware that this is the kind of bureaucratic grant application process that we're creating that's led by some of the same folks. So just have a little caution on what power we do have to craft a more equitable process. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Johannes.
Thank you, Commissioners. I am glad that one way or another, financial or financial reasons or other, the city has ended the contract with Fresno Arts Council since Fresno Arts Council engaged in unacceptable conduct. At something that multiple members of this community had expressed and expressed their concerns about all the way back in September. As I've stated earlier in previous public comments, I do not want anyone here to feel ashamed, or I want everyone here to work with the community on solutions to rebuild the trust that's been destroyed and that threatens this really amazing product, this really amazing public program. And I guess I want to step back and say, in regards to these three positions being considered, with talking about needing an arts or culture background or this or that background, I have the privilege of working for every California citizen at the State Water Board. I am a engagement coordinator at the Office of Equity, Engagement, and Tribal Affairs. I do not have a background in water. I do not have a background in water engineering. That's not my job. My job is to engage the public. I do have water engineers. I do have Division of Drinking Water and Division of Financial Assistance colleagues that help me through it, but my job is to actually engage the public. I want to highlight that Fresno Arts Council had several individuals who were members of the arts and cultural academic community. That did not help. Many members of this community expressed the concerns that we had and the misconduct that was done by Fresno Arts Council. Arts and cultural academic degrees are not nearly as important to me personally and to the arts community as guidelines. To not have someone with an arts and cultural background degree telling panelists out of turn that black hair braiding is not really art, is not really culture. And to have several situations, if a culture doesn't have a flag, if it doesn't have a country, well, then it's not really culture. Someone with a degree in arts and culture said that. So our concern is more about having clear guidelines and transparency to enforce those guidelines. It's clear that it won't matter if a subcommittee is still held behind closed doors in violation of the Brown Act. It won't matter if the facilitator is able to just engage inappropriately with panelists or engage inappropriately with finances. Transparency is how we'll actually be able to enforce any guidelines that we put. And as someone that works in public engagement and equity for a living, we need to have clear structure and we need to have transparency to enforce that structure. And that's how we'll actually be able to repair the trust that's been damaged so that we can actually have this wonderful thing of Measure P. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Smiley.
Is this about the 3 positions or?
Yes, it's about the 3 positions.
Because I want to just focus on that for a second, because I do want to come back up. My name is Smiley. Dulce up front is my fiscal sponsor. I want to thank them for their transparency and leading the way. I want to thank you all 8 commissioners for being here as well. It means a lot. And for the people that are here in the community, because all of this means a lot. Thank you for being here. So it's a shame that we still don't really know what happened with the Measure P funding at the Fresno Arts Council. Am I the only one? We don't know. And so now we've just discarded them, which it's bad. But the idea was great, I think. Fresno Arts, the council, the trusted council of the arts in Fresno is going to help administer these grants. Because we know that city people don't know about arts. Come on, right? You guys are experts in all your fields, but maybe not about community arts. So when I see these 3 positions, Project Lias, can't even say it right, Program Administrator, Community Outreach Specialist, I don't see arts at all. I don't see cultural bearers. This is what it's for. Measure P is a big grant. Most people in the arts really don't even know. It's only 12% that we're getting. It's not a lot compared to the rest. So I think that in this 12%, we need to create positions that definitely focus on the arts, that definitely focus on cultural bearers. That's what this 12% is for. So we need, and I really love what you said, Commissioner McCoy, really putting attention on that. Come on, this is 12%. Let's make the best of it because the city of Fresno deserves this. The taxpayers deserve the best art in California. And we can provide that here with this grant, thanks to the taxpayers. So, I think that we really need to look into this more. The descriptions, the job descriptions. And we can't just take it for granted. We got to really focus on this. and I believe that our taxpayers deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Ome.
Going to give you a bombshell, per usual. Just kidding. Not today. Today, I want to talk about being proactive. I'm sorry, Shelby, sorry, nice to meet you. So Dulce Upfront, I'm the executive director, one of the co-directors, actually, of Dulce Upfront, and we are fiscally sponsoring 21 of the 61 projects on the emerging side. So it's 1/3, so it's pretty substantial. 3 of our projects have not received any funding. Tons of questions that folks have. And of course, we have very little information, a lot of room for just kind of guesses, as to what's going on. And I understand that you all are doing the best that you can in the city. I would like to make another invitation. Well, I didn't make an invitation last time when the city manager came to Dulce Upfront, but I do want to invite the city to actually come to Dulce Upfront. I feel like a lot of artists feel really safe at Dulce Upfront in our space because we do speak out around transparency and we are advocating for artists and cultural bearers across the spectrum. But more to just answer the questions, just like what happened the last time around. I think that was actually helpful for a lot of the artists and cultural bearers that are doing the work right now. A lot of questions that can't be answered just coming in for just like 3 minutes to try to like make statements, all of that stuff. So if possible, as you're in the process of getting the liaison, the director, the manager, whatnot, it would be really advantageous, I think some of the commissioners were mentioning this, of speaking to us directly in a group setting. And that would be great if you could do that within the next 3 weeks. Before, I'm just more just like what you're doing here, but more come into the space, chat with them, and we can do a whole outreach, to all of the folks that are actually receiving funding. So we just kind of get acquainted. Yeah.
Thank you. Do I have anyone online?
Hugo Morales. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, my name is Hugo Morales. I'm the founder and co-director of Radio Bilingüe, grantee, and of Measure P. And Radio Bilingüe supports all the recommendations made to this body by ACTA, by its leader, Amy Kitchener. So the recommendation, it's just clear that the city of Fresno should create a cultural affairs division, which could be within the Parks Department, and hire a professional director of cultural affairs. An experienced professional in the field will have the qualities in administration and oversight that the park staff has described tonight. There's a field of cultural affairs directors in the United States. Many large cities or cities of the size of Fresno either have had or do have directors of cultural affairs, including Oakland. The field exists with professionals with experience that could apply to this position if it would be created. Regarding the proposed 3 new positions within the Parks Department, the project liaison, program administrator, community outreach specialist, and community coordinator, these titles not indicate the level of leadership needed for the city to successfully administer these grants and programs. We need the city to hire a senior level arts and culture director to implement the mandate of Measure P and its grants. We have seen the effects of not having a professional standard for the arts and cultural leadership in the city, which has been a disaster. Hiring 3 positions that appear to be geared for more junior level, it's not the way to go. We need a specific arts and cultural administrative leadership, as has been pointed out by several PRAC commissioners tonight. When it comes time to review the future of these proposals, we should have local reviewers, please. And an experienced leader in this field, as proposed, would train folks about being unbiased and so forth. Finally, we would like to recommend that the chair of the PRAC also chair the Art Subcommittee. We bring greater cohesion of the process. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you.
Paula Allen, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, Paula Allen from Arts Enrichment for All. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but something really came up to me. I've lived in Fresno for 30 plus years, and I've seen over the years of the patches and things, not only in the city, but just across all the organizations that people make. And I really am concerned about these 3 positions being put in place before you have a structure in place, because the structure is important for these positions to be viable, and also for you to know what the budget is actually going to look like for this. We repeatedly in the last couple years saw Fresno Arts Council, although they're not a good example because they misallocated funds, but they came back saying it costs us more money to run this program, it costs us more money to run this program. And that happens often in different departments in the city of Fresno. So I'm wondering, it just leaves me wondering, you put these 3 people in and then more of our tax money goes to that instead of back into this EAC grant. And it's like, it just becomes that a lot of the money is for running the program and not really going where it belongs, into the hands of the city, of the nonprofit organizations here in Fresno. That's all I wanted to say, but it just came up in my head that this doesn't make sense to me to put that in place before you put a structure in place and really show what that budget's going to look like and what it's going to do in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. No more cards, no anyone else online? Okay, I will now close public comment and ask for a motion. Is there a motion to recommend City Council adopt the 3rd Amendment to Position Authorization Resolution Number 2025-178, adding 3 positions to the Parks Department?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Trio. All in favor, say aye.
Could we have discussion, or do we?
I thought we just did have discussion when Shelby was up. So that was.
But I mean, now that it's been brought back to the commission.
Let me refer to Christy.
Yeah, the commission can have further discussion, but the motion and the second still stand.
Okay.
Correct. I just wanted to let you know that I actually have a lot of interest in setting the category or the classification of cultural arts director. There has to be a clear accountability as to who's in charge. I don't like the fact, as much as I respect Sarah, who does a great job, that this position would be reporting to her, and she reports to the director, or I don't know if there's somebody else in between there. Because of that, I think it would be very advantageous to have a clear delineation as to who's in charge of the cultural arts program. And by having a director position, it would make it a lot more precise. I just wanted to make that observation so that if I don't support the motion, you'll know why I would be concerned about that.
Thank you. I understand.
Commissioner, can I say something?
Absolutely.
Your point is well taken about having arts kind of ability and training and experience. And I think that's important. And she said that we would, try to work that into the job description, which is good. I would support this if we know that that's going to happen. The other thing is, how how do I want to say this? Mr. Aguirre, do you remember Mabel Selland?
Can you repeat that? Remember what?
Do you remember Mabel Selland? She was kind of a cultural arts person for the city of Fresno for a while.
Unfortunately, I do not.
Okay, well, that's a point that's well taken, and something to consider in addition to these three positions. If it's in addition to these three positions, then I can go along with it. Anyway, thank you.
Any other commissioners have anything else to say? No? Okay. So we have a motion by Commissioner Miller and a second by Commissioner Trujillo. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. No.
No.
Anyone else say no besides Commissioner Barraza and myself? Nope. Thank you. We will now move on to ID number, so that passes, correct? Okay. So ID number 26-343, hearing resolution to create the Expanded Access to Arts and Culture Subcommittee. Would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item? You will have up to 3 minutes. And the cards that I have here are oh my God, you guys didn't put the, Johannes, you're up, please, thank you.
Thank you kindly, Commission. Just briefly on this topic of a subcommittee, I just want to reiterate something that I have said numerous times and that the Fresno community has said numerous times. Any person that leads these programs, the EAC grant, any people that are assigned to it, whether it's a city or it's a private contractor, any new rules that are added to fix past misconduct, to past inequities, it's been extremely clear that none of that will matter without transparency. Transparency is what provides the accountability. Otherwise, funds are misappropriated, guidelines are blatantly violated, and changes to guidelines are missed, even innocently, just missed. So all of that to say, I'm extremely in favor of this subcommittee. I think it's fantastic. It has to be public. It has to be basically transparency through accessibility. This is not just I want to see things. This is an accessibility issue. I am speaking to you all in this exact moment, in person, visibly in person, visible on Zoom, and also being recorded so that months later it can be reviewed by those who weren't able to make it today or who weren't able to log onto the computer today. It's clearly feasible. It's not difficult, and I actually think it's wonderful for the sake of accessibility and for the sake of equity. So I just want to reiterate, I'm very much in support of a expanded access to arts and culture, an EAAC subcommittee, but it must be public. It must be transparent, and it must be accessible. Transparency through accessibility, in person at all times, open to the public. On Zoom at all times, open to the public, not the dishonest behavior that the city council does, and recorded so that people can actually come back to it. Thank you for your time. That's what should happen in accordance with the Brown Act. Thank you.
Thank you. No other cards. Do we have anyone online?
Yes, we have Hugo Morales. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, again, I just want to say that, I believe, Radio Bilingüe believes, I'm Hugo Morales, I'm the founder and co-director of Radio Bilingüe, that we should have the chair of the PRAC head the cultural, the committee. And I also would like to, again, it's a question, excuse me, Mr. Chair, a vote has just been taken, and I hear the vote by Commissioner Caglia, and she should correct me, that her vote was conditional on cultural competence and leadership among the people that will be hired. And I would like to hear some clarity about her vote and where we'll go from here. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Where am I at? Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments regarding this item? Nope. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution establishing the Expanded Access to Arts and Culture Subcommittee?
I so move.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Collier. Thank you, Commissioner Barraza. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. This item passes. As chair of this commission, I have the responsibility and authority to appoint members to this subcommittee. I would like to appoint Commissioner Trillo. I would like to also reappoint Vice Chair Ward, and I would like to also appoint myself to this subcommittee. So those will be the 3 members on this subcommittee. Did you catch all that? Okay. All right. We will now move on to hearing number 26-321, hearing to receive public input on expanded access to arts and cultural grant program. Would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item? You will have up to 3 minutes, and I do have some cards here. Okay, Aaron, you're up. Finally, huh?
Good evening. I'm Erin Bird, the Executive Director of Arts Enrichment for All. I've been here before, but I want to address a couple things real quick. I've actually thought a lot about what I was going to say tonight. First and foremost, we are a fiscal agent, and we have received 0 emails and/or communication from the city. I actually emailed the city last week and still have not received any information from them, so there is that. We have projects that we are overseeing, and they have lots of questions, rightfully so. And I can't support them because we don't have the information to do so. We're still tracking. I'm like, hey, you're coming in. We're doing our quarterly reporting reviews. We're looking over your financials. We're making sure everything looks good. But I can't help you with your reporting of the narrative side because I don't know what's going to be in it this time. Is it going to be the same? Is it going to be different? So that's to start things off. The other thing that I want to say is this month is actually Arts Education Month. I don't know if any of you know that. And thinking about the cycles moving forward, why we need a process in place that is fair, equitable, makes sense. To delay is delaying our community thriving. The arts do so much more than just provide entertainment. What we see every day in the work that we do is lives are literally changed. In part to Measure P, we've served over 15,000 students, free or at no cost, in the last 3 years. And we look at qualitative and quantitative information, right, to make decisions. But you can't change the fact that because of Measure P, we have a 3rd grader who was not on reading level, but by the end of their program and them doing a play, they could read. And they are confident in their skills and who they are and how they show up. But if we delay this process, then more kids are falling through the cracks. They're not being taught those soft skills that employers are looking for. Creativity, how to adapt and overcome, how to work with a team, how to collaborate. That's how our community thrives. And if we don't do those things right now with our students and we keep delaying this process, then you have a community that's delayed. I don't think that any of us want that. So my ask again, just like last month, was that you have fiscal agents, you have people in this room that know what they're doing and are offering their help to figure this out quickly. But we're not being taken up on that offer. And I think that's a huge miss. So we're here to support, and we're here to solve problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Elizabeth Laval.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Elizabeth Lavelle, the President of the Fresno City and County Historical Society. I just wanted to clarify a couple of points that were through the workshop even that we weren't allowed public comment on. First of all, as a fiscal sponsor, one of our grants was a check that bounced, and we have had no communication at all from the city. I want to first say, City, you guys are doing the best you can. I understand that this is a huge mountain to climb, but we are in the second half of March. The other problems are some things just for your consideration, and I know the city has them on their to-do list. Besides having no contact, when the contract with the Arts Council was terminated, our contract with the Arts Councils were also terminated. So even people that have grants in place have nobody that we're contracted with. I know the city mentioned that. I know it's top of the list, but it's important to me that PRAC understands those funds that have been distributed have nobody that they're in contract with at this time. The city is working on that, but that leads to the question, it's almost time for quarterly reports. We have no way to access Submittable. That was a tool that was used by the Fresno Arts Council. I have 5 reports to do, well 4 because one's not funded, but we don't want to get behind in our deliverables, but we want to make you aware that there are immediate concerns for us. We're trying to keep our fiscal sponsorees online and ourselves, and that is something that's coming up very quickly. There is no way for us to submit a report, and we don't even know what the report will look like at this time, and today is the 16th of March. Finally, I think that it is a question in regards to the last question with the 3 positions. I do not believe that the city has made a decision that they will be administering the entire grant. I think the 3 positions that they proposed were on the fiscal side of the grant, and they're still working on the idea of how to best serve with panels, with reporting and all. And I'd finally like to say, well, first of all, I'd like to just clarify, was that committee that you just voted standing or ad hoc? Was that a standing committee or was that an ad hoc?
Standing.
Standing. That wasn't clear in the motion.
No, because
So
the
it should be.
resolution
Okay.
wasn't read,
Okay.
but it's a standing.
So finally, I just want to say, as Aaron did, that there are many of us in the grant community that are willing to help.
Thank you. Next speaker, Johannes.
Last time, I promise. Okay, thank you again, Commissioners. I want to just get ahead of the idea that everyone here is just here to complain. We're not here to complain. We're here to find solutions. So to that end, actual deliverables, actual things that we want to ask for, or at least myself. And so I say these clear asks as someone who's a member of the public, who is a grant applicant, and is an individual with 4 years of professional grant writing experience and two ongoing years of professional experience as a engagement coordinator in the state water board Department of Public Engagement, Equity, and Tribal Affairs. 1, transparency, specifically through accessibility. The way that we have any good conduct maintained, any changes in guidelines actually followed, is through transparency, and that transparency can be maintained through having access. As I've said previously, every single step of the grant review process should be open to the public in person, open to the public via Zoom, and recorded. This, number one, for the sake of appeals. You notice how last cycle, no appeals were able to be accepted I think a small handful of like less than 10 were even submitted, and none were accepted because the window was so small. And also, once that even with that small time window, what did we do wrong? Well, no one will tell us. FAC declined to really give much detail, and they declined to allow people to attend via Zoom and by record. And I also want to push back on fears voiced by individuals that, oh, this will keep panelists from speaking. This is something that should be done to guide guide panelists through the process. We want the panelists to be able to speak their mind, and that the transparency will make that possible. Like, we are members of the public as well. Two, frankly, to that end, a stipend for panelists. Frankly, like, anything under $600 is within that threshold for the 1099. Panelists reported dropping out because they were busy, being overwhelmed, not being allowed to attend via Zoom. So, like, we had situations where a single panelist showed up, and as we saw, Fresno Arts Council engaged in inappropriate behavior because there was only one person there. Of course, Fresno Arts Council inserted their own opinion. Three, clear definitions for arts activities and cultural activities. We were told by Fresno Arts Council inappropriately that black hair braiding is not really art. It's not really culture. LGBTQ plus trans and queer culture. Well, it's not really culture. It's not really art, is it? Clear definitions. Someone said earlier, structure.
Thank you. Do we have anyone online? All right, I will now close public comment. Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments regarding this item? Yes, but it's not labeled for this one. Is it labeled? I have another item on my agenda. Are you commenting in regards to tennis courts? No. Okay, what's your name? Just go ahead and come up. And state your name for me, please.
Jackson Keitel. I'm a director of the San Joaquin Valley Town Hall group. 25 volunteers, been around since 1937, although I was born shortly after that. I'm here to thank you. This is not about the weeds. The grants that I wrote the grants for the first year and for the second year, which has, by the way, is in limbo. And it's been a great process. And it's the most complicated grant process I've ever seen as a grant writer over 30, 40 years. But in general, we have used it very well. The first thing is we produced a strategic plan, the first that the Valley Town Hall has had in a number of years, and it goes off in great directions. But the most important thing I want to say to you is thank you so much for dealing with the hot potato that's been dropped in your lap. This is a very difficult topic. It has all kinds of entrails. It's the most complicated grant process I've ever seen. And it's been very useful for Valley Town Hall, and we thank you for that, and thank the commission, the mayor, and all the notables. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay, I will now close public comment and bring it back to the commission if they have any questions or comments regarding this item. No?
Just a clarification, Madam Chair. I hope I heard right that the subcommittee is going to be a standing committee.
Yes, those meetings will be
so
open.
there means they'll be subject to the Brown Act.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Commissioner Collier?
I was just going to say something that there are consequences. That one group that pulled back and said, we don't want the grant, take it back, their check bounced. And they put $400 to Sheboygan Theater because they were going to actually perform there. Well, their check bounced, so the money from Sheboygan was non-refundable. And I don't know how many other artists or arts groups are facing obstacles based on what's going on here, and I'm concerned about that. But something we need to keep in mind are the consequences of what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions regarding this item? All right, we will now move on to ID number 26-322, hearing to receive public input on allocations related to Measure P, updates to the Parks Master Plan and Cultural Arts Plan, and annual Parks Department budget and capital improvement plans. Would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item? You will have up to 3 minutes for a comment. Can I call Jesse Duran, please?
Thank you for your time, Commissioners. This is concerning the tennis facility at Roding Park. Even though the courts have been resurfaced, the tennis complex continues to need upkeeping. The wooden benches are splintering, cracked, or just broken. The do's and don't signs, usage of the courts are tattered, outdated, and need replacing. The windscreens are torn, tattered, ripped, and some are just missing. For years, the Roding Park Tennis Club have repaired and painted the benches, repaired and replaced the windscreens at the cost of thousands of dollars to the club. We were asked by the city of Fresno last year to stop doing this because the city will be doing the needed repairs and purchasing of new windscreens. We were asked to submit Fresno requests on these issues, and we have submitted the requests, but are lacking substantial updates or they're non-existent. It's very slow. For example, request 26-000-17319 was submitted in early February and referred to Mike Carbajal. I called twice for updates, and it said that Mr. Carbajal will be giving me a call. My first call was last Friday at 4:03. I called back within the hour and left a message. I called again this morning, and no call back. I know that tennis courts are not a high priority, but does the city have a game plan to resolve these issues? And can we receive more frequent updates? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Camilla Sutherland. She left? Okay. Next speaker, Adam. Yeah.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Adam Balakian. For the last year, I've been helping facilitate a program at Roding Park called Community Tennis. It's just a free open program. Anybody can come play tennis at Roding Park, and we have equipment, we have games and food and all that. It's a fun time. So if anybody wants to come check it out, feel free. So after being out at Roding for a year, these are just a few things that I've noticed where we could potentially use some Measure P funds. First of all, as more people are starting to come to the park, the lighting in the parking lot is pretty bad at night. I get nervous even walking to my car sometimes if I have to park a little bit away from the main light source. So I did put in a Fresno request for that with pictures of the cars. You can barely see them in the pictures because it's so dark. And as we get more people out there, it would be great to have some more lighting in the parking lot. Number two, we live in Fresno, so 3 months out of the year, it is just brutally hot. If we could potentially get some more shade structures out at Roding Park at the tennis courts, where the benches are, where the bleachers are, that would help bring a lot more people out there, I think, to the park, especially in the summer months. Also, courts 1 and 2 have a tree that's overhanging. It's a beautiful tree. Definitely don't want to see it go anywhere. But the branches are overhanging onto the courts. It's dropping all of the leaves onto court 1 and 2. And the issue with that is it's actually potentially a safety hazard. You play on that court, you, believe it or not, slip on the leaves. It's very easy to slip and end up cracking a bone or just falling onto the ground and getting hurt. So we would respectfully ask that we can get the trees out there on courts 1 and 2 just trimmed up. It's a beautiful tree, like I said, please don't get rid of it, but just trim it up a little bit so the branches aren't overhanging onto the court and causing a safety hazard. Beyond that, there's going to be an event on April 18th. It's going to be a public cleanup event for the parks. Anybody that wants to come out and help us just pick up trash, do some weeding at the parks, come check it out. Appreciate your time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I have no more cards. Do we have anyone online? Oh, I need cards. Come on up, and you can fill out your card later. You're there now. Go ahead. Hi, Kyle. I need you to fill out a card for me, too.
Sorry, I'll
okay.
send you 3 of them next time. A couple things I want to comment on. The Tower District Specific Plan update that was just completed late last year identified that the lack of park access within the Tower District, specifically South Tower, is an unavoidable environmental factor. And that was a little disconcerting to see that in our neighborhood planning document, and also not feel the urgency that a third of an acre per 1,000 residents just is not adequate, and we need to continue pushing forward on not just new parks, but addressing our existing parks. I'd like to highlight San Pablo Park and Ted C. Wills. Both have 80% design completed for their projects, so I'd really recommend that funding for those be included in the next funding allocation. Those are desperately needing more amenities. The Ted C. Wills Center is under-programmed and the facilities are outdated, that those need attention as well. I visited there, and we want more programming there. We want healthy environments there. And then as a community organization, we're launching our own public space. We've very close to opening Canal Market. This will be a permanent farmers market and food truck park in the South Tower neighborhood. Very small place right off the canal that's not a developable lot because of the canal right away, but we're getting creative with being able to have healthy food access and public space there. We want to continue to partner with the city on making more parks happen in the city and specifically in our neighborhood. And we're there to do it. There's a lot of opportunities with vacant lots that we can help be an acquisition partner and community outreach partner on making those things happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Omay.
Hello. So I live between Clinton and McKinley and Fruit and Palm by Fresno High. And we used to throw our trash in the alleyway. And now the alleyways, we cannot throw our trash there. We have to put our trash over into the street, and the alleyways are completely empty, desolate, dark, eerie. And there's a lot of dumping that happens on our street, on the alleyways, and I think many folks that have alleyways that are now inaccessible, really. I think that we have an opportunity, it's currently a missed opportunity, to really put some money from the Parks and Arts area to beautify these alleyways for our neighbors to be able to meet, to walk. I care for my 93-year-old grandmother, and I would love to have these walkways be accessible, or for our kids. We have a lot of 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds playing in the street, and that used to be awesome back in the day when kids used to do that, and now we don't have as much of that as we should. I think we should have more of that. But I think that there's an opportunity for money to be carved out from the parks, from the Measure P money, to be able to really beautify and have our neighbors come together and have mini grants. And they could be as little as $10,000 to $15,000, and neighbors coming together and actually beautifying their alleyways. So I hope that that's maybe sparks something in you all to have that potentially happen, because parks are really hard to access. Even where I'm at, I still have to make a trek with my grandmother or our little family members over by the Trolley Park new area, but it's such a stretch, and I think this would be a great opportunity for it to happen on every single block in many different parts of the city of Fresno.
Thank you. Smiley.
Thank you all, commissioners, again. My name is Smiley G. My fiscal sponsor is Dulcia Front, for the record. I am a Measure P EACC funded artist in Fresno, and I'm thankful to the taxpayers. I came here for the art part, but my heart goes out to these park people that come out here and they want to get a tree trimmed or lights put up. This is stupid for you guys to even think about this stuff. The commission should think about better things, greater things, higher things. This should be a quick phone call to the city. Hey, we got to trim this tree because we're going to be slipping all over the place. I'm really grateful for these community members that will spend their time to come out to talk to you guys when it should just be a phone call. Okay. I want to resonate with people that have talked, especially Hugo Morales, a great leader in our community. I totally resonate with what he's saying. Yes, we need to get someone, not just these 3 lower level administrators, specialists, coordinators, but someone that will take the heat for what's going on. We had something tremendous happen to us. That's why they keep on saying that Commissioner McCoy should be on the committee as well. I get it. We don't want this to happen again. We believe in transparency. Hearing what the Fresno City Historical Society has to say, it's a shame that people aren't getting paid and they're still in limbo here. I'm in limbo. I got to fill out my, grant update and stuff. We're already in March right now. You all know this has been a bad situation. We can make it better. We can fix it. We got to take the time to really do it right. Just creating 3 positions instead of someone that will take the heat for this. We need someone that will take responsibility, transparency. We can't just augment things. I want to thank you all. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. We have anyone online? Okay, I will now close public comment. Does any member of the commission have any questions or?
There's a lady.
Oh, I didn't see her. I'm reading. It's okay, ma'am. Come on up.
Perfect, thank you. Linda Scambray, and I represent Heritage Fresno. And I came up here for 2 reasons. I'm always hoping to publicize an event. With the grant money that we were supposed to get, we made a film. And it's a wonderful tribute to the preservation of historic treasures in Fresno. And you can come to one of these events. There's some at the library that are free, and we'll have a big event at the Warner's Theater on May 28th, which we'd like a donation to help restore that theater. So what we would like to say to you is thank you. Thank you for your service on this committee and for your efforts to keep this process going. It's very important to Fresno. And this film is so good in the sense that when we've shown it at the libraries, we have young people who have no concept of what Fresno has saved, only what's been destroyed, and that's really made a bad reputation for us in some ways. So I'm giving you all one of these wonderful invitations. What a chance to come and visit with us and see the film. And I'd like to say one other thing. Is this process is a double jeopardy for us. First of all, the scandal of lost money that the taxpayers gave. And secondly, because of the situation and other things that have happened in the past, the public has less of an urge to donate to nonprofits. And I think we've all faced that as nonprofits, is that the public has lost confidence in our fiscal responsibility to keeping things going and legitimately using the taxpayers' money for good purposes like this commission has done in the past. So we really appreciate your time and your effort to do that, and I really encourage you to come and see the film. It's terrific. And I'll give you all an invitation and extras if you need them. Thank you.
Thank you. Micah Byers.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm an arts educator with Fresno Unified and Fresno City College. I teach music composition and music for kindergarten through 12th grade. I am a fortunate grant recipient, and I'm fiscally sponsored through Dulce Up Front. And throughout the entire process, like some have said, I'm a grant writer. I've written many grants before for my job. It's all sort of felt random and like luck of the draw. And the amount of money I was rewarded, the way that they divided up the award, like Some people are going to get 60%, some people get 30%, and so on. It just kind of felt random, and I was fortunate I applied for the amount I did, because based on the percentage I got, I was able to get well funded to have a big project that would employ a lot of our artists in our town. So I just want to comment on that. If there's some way in the future when we have these people who are on the committee, I want to echo the need to, provide a stipend for people to be able to take the time, because if you want people who are well qualified and well versed in cultural arts, they're busy. I'm tired. I just finished teaching a bunch of 6-year-olds how to do music, and then I have my own son at home who I'm not with right now to be here, and so on. So it's like, we got to compensate those people if we want the talent on that board. And then also kind of what Adam was saying about the tennis. I've been going to those tennis nights regularly for the past year, and the bathrooms, the lights do not work in either the men's or the women's, and it is incredibly slippery in there and disgusting. It does not feel safe. There's no lights from the tennis courts all the way to the bathroom. There's 0 lighting, and as soon as you get into the bathroom, no lighting. It does not make me feel like I'm able to go use the restroom at a 3-hour tennis night. So I would like that addressed immediately for the safety of my own son, who's 6, and I take him out to Roding Park from 6:30 to 9:30. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone online? Okay, I'm going to try this again. I will now close public comment. Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments regarding this item? All right, it is 7:26. As I always do, I would like to adjourn the meeting in memory of Dr. Francine Apuda, who is deeply missed on this commission. And I would also like to extend a big thank you to you all who came out and filled up the chambers and provided comments tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.